What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of February 28th through March 6th of 2022. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all so much. I hope everybody's doing well. Definitely get some tickets for, what is David calling it? Divine Intervention with Anne. It's going to be going down tomorrow, which is Monday, the 28th of February. It's going to be next level stuff. And the way he got that just downloaded and dropped to him in a blink of an eye was impressive nonetheless. So you're going to want to get some of that. As always, he's going to bring something that's going to, blow minds. So definitely want to say, check that out. Check out High Vibe. There's a lot going on. There's so much going on. So I want to start with some of that stuff, but wow. What a week we have in the astrology. Like just sitting here thinking about really the new moon in Pisces, which will be at 12 degrees. Is in a 2-degree orb with Jupiter, which will be at 14 degrees. We're also going to have the sun conjunct Jupiter this week. So, whoa. This is like kind of the time we've all been waiting for. I think spiritually, just in our own personal lives, with sort of a turning of where things are going, with Pisces being the 12th zodiac sign. It is the culmination. It is the finale. It reminds me of the tens in the tarot, You get the Ten of Swords where it's like, okay, kind of good rock bottom. Now it's time to pick yourself back up. There is a picking up right now. It doesn't necessarily mean we're at rock bottom, but there's something about the cycle turning. There's something about the Wheel of Fortune here with Jupiter. There's something about this next story of your divine story. So it's bigger than just the Sagittarian, like Jupiterian story, like Neptune's here at 22 degrees. Jupiter's here. New moon. Like once in a lifetime stuff. We're so lucky to live through these transits. And I know that that's where the chaos of Pisces is showing up in our world. It can look like just sheer chaos out there. And you know what? There is a lot of chaos out there. There really is. It's chaos in the weirdest ways, the most illusionary ways. It's like, what is real? What is true? What is tangible? What is it? And I think we can all be asking those questions in life, or, whether it's our personal life or with the world, or whether we think we see clearly. Like, I don't know. Does anybody see clearly right now? I would say the only way to know if you're at least seeing somewhat clearly is if you're not afraid right now, if you're not scared. Maybe there is scary stuff going on. So what? It's a South Node in Scorpio. If we're going to get sucked into that fear story that's going on in the world, we're going to miss out on the pure bliss that Pisces can bring. As we are turning over to this new cycle, as we are closing out. I mean, there's so much karma built into this time. Like, this is such a karmic, I've heard David say it in some of his past videos, a karmic clean out. Now, that really resonates with me. What exactly that means, I'm not sure, but this is a karmic turnover here for the whole reason that so many of us are even here right now. Now, I know maybe you're not going to see that just with everybody in the world, but that's okay. If we're going to start worrying about everybody's psyche and everybody else and attach ourselves to what the world's doing, which I would say Saturn in Aquarius and Mercury meeting with Saturn this week in Aquarius, like, sure, we can definitely be tuning into a lot of frequencies. And of course, with all the Pisces, like, oh yeah, we're sensitive to what's going on. But are we really going to attach ourselves to the fear or the dragging down of that energy that is in the world? Because you can look out there and there's definitely it's a more stark division that's showing up. About, oh, this is terrible, this is so scary, people are, maybe there's truth to that. It's hard to say unless you're really there. We have to kind of look at everything in that light right now as we live our lives. Maybe for some people there is a real fear, but is there a fear in your life right now? Like, we have to remember not to get too sucked into other people and the drama and whatever that attachment or psychology is with a South Node in Scorpio, which Venus and Mars are making really good aspects as we speak to those nodes, with the North Node in Taurus, which is getting closer and closer as we keep progressing through time and space here to Uranus. It's also getting ready to square Saturn. The nodes are about to square Saturn. That's coming up too. Mercury is going to square those nodes. There is a lot of karma coming to something about really intelligence comes to mind when I think about Aquarius, of course. It is fixed air. Some would say it's the smartest sign in the zodiac, being that it is the fixed intellect that we hold, and that can connect timelines, and that can detach from emotion to actually make the intelligent decision. And it might be cold, but in Saturn in Aquarius is cold, but we have to take our own sort of mental authority with a Saturn-Mercury conjunction, which happens at the exact time that we get a new moon. Oh, and what else happens at the exact time of the new moon? Venus and Mars conjunct Pluto. Like, there's so much powerful energy this week. It blows my mind. But we have to remember that North Node in Taurus. We have to remember that there is beauty out there to create. There is abundance in this world. I know it doesn't look like it. I know, there's inflation going on. There's like some serious money stuff going on right now. But it comes right back to you cannot be scared of any of it. You have to know you got it. No matter what changes or what happens, we have to let go and surrender. And that's where we're heading to this week, is like there has just got to be a sense of knowing you got it, the faith that you got it, that you came here to turn over something new, to maybe go in a new direction, to end a previous cycle. And the fear of anything in life right now will keep you in a subconscious loop that, I don't know, is that purgatory? Is that what David was talking about when he was channeling that? Is this the moment where we actually get out of that? Because we have to give up fear. We have to literally let go of that right now. And it couldn't be a better time with where the nodes are to really feel into life, creation, earth, feeling stable within ourselves and knowing how to take care of ourselves. And I think just the faith in that alone, and hooking up with the right people that are in that same mindset, that see that same light, that have that mental authority and power with Mercury conjunct Saturn, that are going to be able to make the biggest differences in this time. And I think that's part of the reason we're all here, is like the traditions, systems, they're all changing. The world is never going to be the same again. So at this point, it seems pretty obvious if the old world is hypothetically, theoretically, or actually going to explode, because I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm just living life with you guys. But how do we just live it with ultimate compassion, with love, with a freedom to feel and to experience life, and wherever that takes us, but without the judgment behind it, flowing through the chaos, being able to see through illusion? Man, we're all about to get a reveal in our lives. Now, what that reveal is going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be around governments? Is it going to be around a great plan? Is it the reveal of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 22 degrees that Venus and Mars are digging up and actually bringing an identification to and an appearance to? And also, I would say the aesthetic goes with that, but also a physical, like, whoa, this is really what the hidden plan was. Do we see that now? There's a lot of questions. I think a lot of this stuff can come up. I think that it is an explosive time for our souls to be here. Now, I'm using definitely some words that could be taken, different ways with different things that are going on, but maybe there's so much of the stuff outside that is this, explosion that we're all going through as souls that are more awake to what's going on, that are not being duped, that are not, just falling blindly for anything that is being told or shown. Because that's really where we can lose ourselves right now with anything. And I've been saying that on this channel for probably a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. Like, we are being shown a movie, and how invested are we going to get in the movie? Are we going to treat it as a movie? Is it entertainment? Is it real? There's questions. I think individually you have to figure that out for yourself, but to me, it's a great movie. We live in the great Oz. It's a big projection, and how we see the reality in our own personal lives right now is actually the most true thing that you can see. So you really have to get back to what's around you and what's going on, and there's truth there. And I think we're in a time where truth is the most important thing we can find. It's the most important thing we can have. it's a very hard thing to see. It's a very hard thing to have. But if you have your truth and you have people, around you in alignment with a similar truth, there's something special that's taking us to the next tier spiritually. And I have some other stuff I want to show you about some other things that are coming up, but wow. And but definitely Venus coming out of shadow this week is a big deal, and with Mars right there with it. And they're both going to ingress by Sunday into Aquarius and conjunct, and Venus is going to pass Mars for the final time in this little transit, this little retrograde cycle with Venus and Mars, this dance, this push through Capricorn together. And they finally come into zero Aquarius, where Jupiter and Saturn met on the winter solstice of 2021? 2021? Where are we in time right now? It was 2020. I think there's something too about Pluto in Capricorn that is destroying the time system that we knew. Remember, Capricorn Saturn is time, and Pluto will upheave all of that. So there is a different time. And really, we should be on more of a divine time anyways, with all this Piscean energy. That divine time will take you more towards a mission and more towards the biggest destination of your life that, you could have ever dreamed of. And I think that's exactly where we're at. As we are finishing, just think about this Venus retrograde in Capricorn. This is the final big Capricorn transit. We saw a lot go on there, especially since even 2018 with Saturn coming in, but Jupiter coming in 2019, 2020, the conjunctions with Pluto, the eclipses. We have gone through the biggest Capricornian shift imaginable, and this is the final finale of that. At least until we get eclipses there, which won't be for another, 13 years? 14 years? 12 and a half, 13 years? We're done. We're moving into more of an Aquarian time. We're breaking free from those old traditions, from those old structures. Now, this can be very isolated. It can be very weird. Aquarius is not by any means just cookie cutter. So we don't know what we're going into. We're all going into uncharted waters, literally, with a new moon in Pisces. This is a part of the ocean we've never been to before. It's almost like the Bermuda Triangle of, conscious life. Where are we? Where are we going? You tell me. I'm here with you guys. I don't have all the answers. I'm not some guru. I'm just looking at this and probably seeing and feeling a lot of the same stuff you're seeing and feeling. But I turn on a camera and put it on my channel for you. So zero Aquarius, right? There's a 20-year cycle in play with Jupiter and Saturn here. This is about being smart. This is about our intellect. This is about different ways, new ways. And with Venus and Mars meeting there, right after they get sort of the underlying whatever the F is going on in our life, which I do think we actually get this week, believe it or not. I think that we finish, something is going to get revealed one way or the other. And it's going to help us see where the future is actually going. And I think that really comes back to ourselves with Mars and our identification here. We have to identify with our own rebel spirit, our own breaking away of where we're going. If you believe that we're going on two different paths as this collective, if you believe that there is a split, which I do, I think it's obvious to see out in the world that there's a split. There are people that are definitely going one way, and there are a lot of other people like you and I that are going a different way. There's no right or wrong way. I'm not here to say that's the case, but this is where you're picking your side. And I've been pulling the two of swords a lot lately. So when it comes to this crossroads of life, this is that big moment of having that identification of a revolutionary path, a rare path, a path that has not been taken before. At least in your own life, maybe someone else has. But Aquarius isn't necessarily going to do something the same way another person does it. So this is much more of an individuated, rare path that I think each and every one of us might have to really start channeling into what that looks like and the people that that's going to be. Because I think even if you look at relationships with Venus and Mars together, which of course they've been together for a long time, and maybe relationships have been heavy on the mind for a lot of people, I'll be honest, they have been for me, more so than for a while. Like, that's been firing in my life. Can we really go into relationships with people that aren't taking a rare path in life right now, that don't see at least somewhat of a similar projection of life right now? I think that'd be very difficult. There has to be a sense of, I think, win-win, of course, with Aquarius, but it's definitely like, you see, you're smart, I get it, you see what, you get it, okay, yeah, we're tribe, we're soul fam for sure, like, that's good. Now what's the next stage look like? So I think there's a lot of that taking place in life right now, and I mean, it's serious though. It's cold. We're coming into a very cold time. Like, yes, we're at the final third of winter, coming into spring, and the equinox is getting closer and closer. Like, the sun's even going to come out of the first decan of Pisces. So we're really 1/3 out of Pisces and get a new moon. So we have 2/3 left as we close out this winter season. And at least if you're on the northern hemisphere, right? Of course, if you're in Australia or southern hemisphere, then you're coming into fall. But we're at a big point where there is a lot of change. It is mutable in Pisces. There are seasons that are changing in life. So what's the season changing in our life? What's the slide changing to? What's the projection changing to? And where are we taking this karmic journey? I think it takes a major Piscean moment, and I think that there is an isolation to it. Even Pisces' 12th house is isolated. This is institutions, jails. This is where it's so interesting, because in your own chart, if you have a lot of 12th house aspects going on or in transit, like, if you're not listening to the call and you're going through the same patterns over and over again, you might just wind up in jail. You might just wind up locked up, and you have nothing to do in that situation but surrender and actually think and ponder. And I think there is something about, we have to willingly kind of go into that space to figure out what the next step is and where things are going, while simultaneously realizing how amazing this astrology is and how once in a lifetime it is. And however it shows up in physical world, we have to just say, this was part of a bigger plan. This was bigger. It's bigger than us as individuals. It's bigger than the collective. This is God's plan in Pisces. It's the universe's plan. It's above my pay grade by far to tell you exactly what's going to happen here this week or coming into next week or as we close out this winter. But I know that we're at a point where we're starting to get a really powerful message, and we might have to quiet the noise. And I'm not saying isolate or lock ourselves down, but this is definitely a time to pay attention to what you're getting right now. Pay attention to what the message is that's trying to find you. And that can come through so many different ways. I've been seeing a ton of numbers lately. Just lots of threes, lots of Jupiter. And of course, this new moon is at a 12, which makes a net 3. Conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. Like, we have to believe. We have to keep a high faith, a high vibe. Keep a happiness to life right now. Like, we have to laugh. We have to be like, something in life has to bring us some kind of jovial attitude, or we're really going to this is pure chaos and anxiety to the max. And you can look out in the world and people are definitely going that way. So if you're finding happiness right now, if you're finding yourself, if you're listening to the frequency that's coming through that's showing you that you are a powerful individual here to create and change patterns that have been so programmed into not only our lives, but generation after generation after generation of our lives. It's not as simple as just this one. It's much bigger than that. When you really zoom out and think about where we're at and where we're at with ages and the cusps and coming from Pisces into Aquarius, just in general, we are so lucky to be a part of this. And I know it doesn't feel like that all the time. I know it can definitely feel very strange and weird. And it is weird. And I look at life all the time. And I'm like, wow, this is weird, but at least it's exciting. Like there's something exciting every day. And I think if you can keep your own personal life happy and in some sense of flow and divine union with at least the Lord, with at least God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, you're gonna end up seeing that everything is gonna work out. And that's the part that's the great cleanse of Pisces too. It's this great spiritual cleanse that we're in right now. It's a once in a lifetime spiritual cleanse. Where do we end up when we're all clean from what's happening right now? I don't know, but I think it's worth being excited about, and it's worth like let's see what it is. Let me cleanse all of the impurities to see where God really wanted me to be right now. And am I willing to stand in that light with compassion and faith and love, unconditional love with Pisces, and an abundant attitude and a high vibe to just be happy to be in a moment that is so rare and so special for evolution just as a human species, and see where that takes us. And that would be my best advice as we come into this week, and to see that there's so much that's about to be shown. And there's something about that 0 Aquarius point that we're actually going to get that identification of what that 20-year cycle is all about, and why we had it, and how to take that powerful intellect and that powerful mind and put it towards the best use for the collective, and how to not isolate ourselves from love and from compassion and from healing and from being of service. Maybe we're all meant to be more of service than we ever could have realized in this time. And maybe that's the biggest purpose. Because Pisces Virgo is the service aspect, the service axis. It's the healing aspect. I keep saying aspect. It's the healing axis. So there's a big purification right now within our souls. And are we willing to see where that plan is taking us without judging it or being critical or getting sucked into cycles and routines that we know have to be purified to take our evolution to this next amazing chapter. I will share with you my screen to finish this out for a little bit. And show you some charts, and then there's something that I'm like looking at that's very interesting to me. So I'll show you that as well. But the first thing, this is Monday's chart. So this is tomorrow when 28th through the 6th when I started this. But it is very interesting, the Aquarius energy with Mercury approaching Saturn. They're going to conjunct it, I believe. I think it's 19 degrees. We'll see in a minute. But I'm pretty sure it's 19 degrees on Wednesday with Jupiter at 14 and the sun and moon at 12 degrees. But it's just so Aquarian right now. We're in such a strange place, but it's like, can we be emotionally intelligent? Like we have to be with an Aquarius moon. We have to be able to detach from all the feeling, all the world stuff, and actually get back to ourselves and the people that are in our tribe or in our groups. And like, this is where I think a lot of powerful communication can come out. This is where we're seeing Mars approach Pluto, Venus approach Pluto. And Mars and Venus are getting tighter and tighter every day this week until Sunday. So Mars kind of took a little lead here, but Venus is like, hey, wait up. We got to figure out how to create life right now. So you get back here, Mars. I'm going to use some of this powerful Capricornian energy that you got, and let's get some things done, and let's figure out what value is. And especially as they're Monday, an exact trine to the North Node, and the North Node ruler is Venus in Taurus. So I think we're at a very important place when it comes to money and relationships. And I know it's weird because Uranus is in Taurus too, but that's the different road. That's where things are. We have to be critical of what value is, because it's just not what it used to be anymore. And I think that's the thing with Aquarius too, is there's a fixing aspect to Aquarius. Aquarius wants to fix things. Like, this isn't working. This is stupid. Let's come here. Let's work on this together and figure it out. I have a really good idea. You want to help me? We can do this together. There is a togetherness with Aquarius, but it also has to be on the same frequency and have the same identification of where future is going. So I think that's where we're at in a sense too. But Moon Saturn is definitely not comfortable because it is the uncomfortable discussions or talks that we have to take the emotion out of and be very smart with as we uncover what the underlying desires are that are maybe the biggest block from what we need to create right now. So we have to go deep and we have to not get too sensitive about it, even though it's a very sensitive time. If we get stuck into the sensitivities of life, we're not going to, that might give us the green light to go into South Node Scorpio, because sensitivities will bring up fear right now. Of course, there's a beautiful aspect with sensitivities too, where, they're showing you more of the compassion and how to, I would say feel into where we need to go and what people. But, we can definitely get hyper focused right now on a future that we don't want to go into. And I think we need to get, pretty serious about our own personal lives and what that individuality and what those groups look like as something gets uncovered later in this week. So Tuesday, the moon will come into Pisces, and it's super balsamic at this point. Of course, Monday, it's balsamic too. And we're in that dark moon phase, and this is, pretty edgy, I think, in the world. This is where we're going to start to see a lot of things kind of closing out, especially around, I would say, just society as a whole and what that looks like, especially with Mars and Pluto together. And almost exactly, they're going to be within a degree. It definitely looks like something. Is it war? Maybe, but what's the war really being fought over, I think, is the bigger question. Is it just Russia invading Ukraine just to invade Ukraine? Is it just Putin, being a dictator? Or is it that Ukraine's been the shady one and Russia's actually doing the world a favor? Now, I don't know, but these are things that I've seen show up that are getting uncovered that I'm at least willing to question right now. I don't think this is one of those times where we can't attach ourselves to anything fully, but let's see what comes up. What movie's playing right now? Is there any resonance there? Does it make any sense? Is this just is that just a green screen the entire time? Is that just a loop? Does that look like some camera on a freeway, but it's really just a loop? Are these people even from Ukraine? Is this happening from the past? I don't know. But it looks like a lot of it is. But maybe not. I'm willing to question things, and I think we all have to be willing to question things, but this week is going to be very intense in the world, especially with the moon squaring the nodes and Saturn starting to square the nodes. There's a lot of pressure on Aquarius energy, and with Mars and Venus coming to conjunct at 0 Aquarius. There is big changes coming for the collective. There is people in life that are coming into their own individuated state. They're breaking out of consensus. They could have been in consensus this whole time, in that evolutionary state of following what to do, obeying orders, living life in the same routine, same structure that has been programmed in for generations. And now they're finally like, oh my God, I'm out. I'm done with it. And then there's other ways where it could be people are like, no, I'm going to completely, go all in for this because this is what's right for people. And I think that that's both sides actually in a nutshell. Is as much as it's hard for me to even put myself in those shoes, but I do have an Aquarius North Node. I do have a moon in Aquarius. I have a Venus in Aquarius. I have to put myself in other people's shoes and try and see another side, because if I just overly identify with my side, then I'm in my South Node 100% in Leo, and I'm just like, nope, that's not what I'm doing, so I have to do those things. And, maybe I can help you guys with these transits because of those parts of myself. Is maybe people that really do believe in this are really just, I know it sounds crazy because I've seen some of the signs and some of the things that they've been putting up, especially like there's a lot of Nazi stuff going on right now, I'll be honest. A lot of similarities, which, oh, yeah, Uranus and Taurus, how funny. But in the end, if you put yourself in their perspective, they actually think that that's what's right for humanity. Now, do I believe that to be true? No, but in some ways, with this Aquarius energy, everybody is trying in their own way, whatever wavelength they're on, whether it's the 3D Earth split or the 5D Earth split. I have to say, I think people are actually trying to do what they think is right for everybody, but some people are so spelled and lost that they don't see that, that's the way that the fear and that the media and that the story wants them to go. But underlying, yes, they might be blind to it, but I guess still the value would be around, they actually think that that's best. Which I would say most people that do see through it actually, would hate on people like that, or, maybe that's the wrong word, but would give them, I don't know, give them a hard time, if you will, because it's hard to put ourselves in those shoes because it doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing too, is there's not a lot of common sense right now too. And that's one thing that Aquarius won't put up with either, is a lack of common sense. So I guess that's what I was going to talk about. I mean, I don't plan any of this stuff, I'll be honest. Like, I just turn on the camera and go. Especially with the lives that I do now, it just is what it is. But, yeah. So, as we come to Wednesday, which is the new moon, which this is almost exactly where that new moon is, but we'll go exactly to it, just to get the time and everything, because I don't even know exactly when the time is, I'll be honest. All right, 9:34 a.m. is the new moon in Pisces on Wednesday, 12/6, 2 degrees from Jupiter. You cannot make this new moon up. This is insane. It's insane astrology. When you look at Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces with a new moon in Pisces, yeah, you name one time that you've been alive where you've seen that. Go ahead, I'll wait. Yeah, it hasn't happened. And that it's actually within a 2-degree orb of Jupiter. And Jupiter's a huge planet. Like, you can give Jupiter a 10-degree orb. A lot of astrologers give it that or bigger. So the strength of this Jupiter is unmatched. And Jupiter's finally free of a south node that's been in Sagittarius. And then Jupiter, before the south node was in Sag, was in Capricorn with Saturn. And the south node was there. Like, we have not had Jupiter this strong in a very long time. In conjunct a new moon, like, this is magic. This is taking alchemy to another level within our karmic destiny, within our spiritual presence, within our enlightenment. And I would say another very interesting thing about enlightenment is Poseidon. Now, I've talked about Poseidon, and it's interesting that Poseidon is the glyph of Pisces, but turned up, vertical. And I know people, Neptune is Poseidon, right? Like in Greek mythology, but this trans-Neptunian planet is just a little different. It's more, if you actually look at the Greek mythology of Poseidon, of course, yeah, Neptune too, god of the sea. But Poseidon was also god of the land and horses. There's a grounded aspect actually with Poseidon. So that's where this trans-Neptunian planet is very interesting, is because it is much more grounded, but it is grounded in enlightenment. It is grounded in spiritual creativity and presence, and it is a much higher connection. But it's Earth, it's here, and it's about to oppose Uranus. So Uranus is going to come to 15 degrees Taurus, which I've been having my eye on coming into April. That April, May, Uranus squaring the Aries point and also 0 Cancer is going to be the semi-square to those points from 15 Taurus is going to be a big deal, but it's also going to be in opposition to Poseidon at 15 degrees of Scorpio. So to me, this is another really interesting aspect that is taking us way higher. Because you're right, Uranus is taking us higher. Uranus is always trying to somehow shake things up to move us further where we need to go. And it's change, but it's going to take you where you need to go. Whether it throws you into the ground and throws you up into the air, if it just throws you up into the air, Uranus is going to take us further and farther. And I think that this opposition with Poseidon, with the semi-squares to the Aries point and 0 Cancer, this is going to be a huge point that we're coming to later in the year that is taking people so far to their own grounded enlightenment of how to not only access the divine or the occult or the psychic ability within them, but how to actually usefully, with Uranus and Taurus, put this to some sort of work, some sort of value with the people, Uranus, with the collective, with monetary value. Like there's something like, so that's where I'm almost at a point too, where it's like, we need to not trip so much about money because God's going to take care of us. But that's the thing with Poseidon and Scorpio and a South Node in Scorpio too, is we can forget about our, that there's a bigger plan that we can't see because of earthly, which would be monetary, which is Taurus even, value systems that are in a place of crumbling right now. There has to be a lot of faith and trust in evolution. No matter what that looks like, it's like you can only position yourself for what you know, and we're also in a place where we don't know exactly what's coming. And I've said that before, and I'll say it again, we don't know. So yeah, we can doomsday prep and think we have it all figured out till, we're beat down and tired and don't have anything left. But in the end, we all have resources right now for a reason, whatever that is. Like, we're going to figure it out. You have to believe that. And I think that that's part of the enlightenment right now that we have to find balance in, is to realize that our enlightenment is going to show us a way forward in physical form, even if we don't have all the answers or have things completely figured out. And right before this new moon happens, Mercury will be on Saturn. See, they're 4 minutes of geometry apart. So that's why I was like, is it 18 or 19? 1859 for Saturn. This is a special new beginning, once in a lifetime new beginning that's going to get you closer to the reason that you came here than ever before. And it's time to, I think, get serious about what that is and to stop trying to think we have all the answers. I would say that Mercury on Saturn in Aquarius can definitely be, I got it all figured out. I know what's going on, but nothing about this knows exactly what's going on. Mars and Venus will be on Pluto for the new moon within a degree for throughout Wednesday and conjuncting exact on Thursday. There's something about to erupt in life. And maybe it has to do with like a government exposure of something. Like maybe they overexpose themselves. Maybe they're trying too hard to show a story that's literally just a movie. Maybe it's actually an explosion. There's a lot of things. We're going to see Mars and Venus also square Los Angeles' sun. LA's sun is 28 Aries. And Pluto's about to square that sun too. And even just the United States squares LA's sun, which is very interesting. So what's going on with LA? LA is such a Piscean, sort of energy as well, right? It's all movies and production. So there's something about a shift. It's like a cut in the film. It's like there's a completely new projection about to play in life. And I'm just channeling this now. I've never even thought about that before, but we're about to see a different, we could think that the movie that we're watching is the only movie we're going to see, but we don't realize that we're about to see the complete shift of what movie's actually playing. So it's all a little bit of smoke and mirrors, and it's all a little bit of this, that, and the other, and that's Pisces too, is just everything built into one, and this culminating point of every aspect and every archetype and every energy. But we have to bridge the gap, and that's Pisces too, how it comes together in the middle and then gets bridged, spirit and the physical, the spiritual realm, the physical realm. They have to come together. And I think that's another part of Poseidon and Uranus that's building up, and even the nodes in Scorpio and Taurus is, yeah, a psychic ability is heightened. There's a deep depth of desire to go into the unknown right now, but there's also a deep sense of taking what you have and putting it to good use. And that's probably where the best value can be found. So it's a very this is just insane, astrology. And every single planet is on one side of the zodiac. Now, yeah, I have some trans-Neptunian planets in here, and of course the south node's over here in Scorpio, but if you look at Venus, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, Neptune, even Uranus, like, they are all within 3 signs. It's a little bit more than that, of course, because it's really a trine, right? So you have Earth to Earth, 160, but 120, sorry. My math, I'm all over the place. Within 120 degrees. So there's something very harmonious about where we're at right now. I think it can look like it's not, but it's because there's so much on the other side that isn't being filled in that we also have to remember there's more to it that we're not seeing. And I think that's another layer that has to be kind of looked at and discussed, is that there's so much in these outer realms, especially with Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, that we got to get back to what is actually real in our lives and stop focusing on a lot of illusion. And I know that's hard because it's exciting and we can want to get into that, but remember, like, the more we get into just putting all of our attention and focus into what the traumatic stuff is in life, that's very South Node Scorpio. So we got to go towards the light energy. We got to go towards the Pleiades over here, and that's really what's over here with the North Node, is the Pleiades, and yes, even Algol, but with great power comes with great responsibility, and are you going to use it for good or evil? And I think that a lot of people are realizing that they have a power right now that has to be used for good. So, and, a lot of other powers out there, are you going to use it for bad? It is what it is. And as we go forward to the weekend, we're going to get Venus and Mars conjunct at 0 Aquarius, which is insane to me. That Jupiter and Saturn met there. And we finish off the week on Sunday with that. And we also, it's a day after a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. Which what? That'll be at 15 degrees? Is it 15 degrees? I have to know. Or is it 1459? 1458. So that makes a 5 too, which means that this Sun-Jupiter conjunction is such a mental just explosion within our own spiritual story and our own beliefs, our own even enlightenment that's happening. It's going to be in trine to Poseidon. The sun's coming off the sextile to Uranus. Uranus is still really sextile Jupiter and the sun. There is something happening. There's something happening with each and every one of us so fast right now, but it's edgy. And because even before Mars and Venus come into Aquarius, they're going to be at 29 Capricorn, so edgy after Pluto. Like, something is about to change so fast. Our whole, I think, yeah, the world's changed fast already. If you look at from 2020, 2 years ago up until now, but that was just the pre-show. So we're about to see some of the craziest, quickest changes ever. But Jupiter's there saying, just enjoy the ride. Let go and enjoy the ride. As crazy as that may sound. Because if we're smart and we make the right decisions and we have the right connections in the moments that come, we're going to be taken care of with faith. It's safe to believe and have faith again. But you have to believe, it's not just a belief in what's the world's doing, it's a belief that there's another thing playing out that we can't see, that it takes a high sense of faith, and it is that enlightenment factor. I keep saying and channeling that word. And what is enlightenment? Like, I don't really know. I think it's different for everybody, but it is just a happiness to be here and to keep putting in the work where you know you need to put the work in, and to get the things done that feel aligned with the soul, and to do good by other people because you're doing good by yourself. So it's not like by any means, I guess enlightenment would be treating yourself with the spiritual respect and being spiritually pure for whatever that means to you, and treating others as that reflection of self and having that compassion even if they are going a different way. So it's not a judgment time, but I think that there is some sort of a judgment time right now too, because we're in those times. So, and the moon's going to come through and square Pluto and Venus and Mars. Yeah, it's going to square them at 29 Cap, isn't it? Oh, Mars they just slipped in before the exact square, but right there nonetheless. And then hitting exalted moon in Taurus, which is going to square Venus and Mars that are conjuncting at 002, and Venus just past Mars, which will be Saturday night at 11:34 p.m. Yeah, this is such an activating time. But you have to know your worth and know your value and know your beauty and know that other people, you're hooking up with people in life that got that, whatever they are to you, whether it's romantic or just people that are ready to be kind of warriors here for a future that is completely undefined and that takes faith. So it is a spiritual warrior that has to be grounded into to make the physical abundance show up. And it is all about a future and what that future is going to look like, and how are we going to get through it as a collective, and how do we have compassion and unity in a time where it's hard to find that. But that's where the good luck literally is in compassion and understanding it. And I think being able to mentally put ourselves in other people's shoes without judgment or hate or negativity, because there's already one side that's going to go there. But that would be the enlightenment, I think, is that, so what? They don't have to. Like, that's holding yourself at a higher place. And I think that's what we need to do to really get through this karmic time together. And yeah, I got a lot of other stuff to do today. Got this out early. Definitely got to do the tarot video and the daily. But I appreciate you guys. I hope that this was enjoyable or helpful or whatever it was. I do love and appreciate you guys. Check out David's paid video, Divine Intervention. I keep wanting to say Divine Secession, but Divine Intervention with Anne. It's a history in the stars kind of layout to it. It's going to be epic. So you're going to want to see that. That might have, the enlightenment and the truth that we are looking for, because I don't even know exactly what he's going to say. Nobody does. That's the beauty of it. And I hope that this was helpful, and I look forward to putting out the tarot video, and I look forward to every day going through the astrology and channeling it day by day, because that's where I think it's really at, is the day by day, how it feels, because things can feel differently as every day progresses with uncertain events or with things happening that we can't predict. There can be a new channel that comes through. So As always, I look forward to that with you, and I love and appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your weekend and have a great week. Much love. Peace.